Hey, Ceramics One, Miss Kent here. You should all have your supply kits by now, and I don't know about you, but I would be excited to dig into them. So let's take a look at what you've got in.
All right, so here is what you should be looking at. I will go into this in 1 second. You have your clay. You have a little jar of underglaze, and please make sure you don't use this until instructed. We will use this in a few projects, so just set this aside for now. You have your sketchbook and some instructions on how to put it together. It's fairly straightforward. Go ahead and do that. And then you have your clay. The one thing to really keep in mind is that you want to make sure that your clay stays damp. So where I put this in, the opening of the bag is on the bottom. And it is closed with this twist tie. I don't know about you, but I always lose my twist tie, so I always just fold it over and the weight of the bag will help hold it together. All right. And you can use this bucket for a water bucket and cleanup. I personally would actually get another container of, say, like a yogurt cup or something fairly large, so that I don't have to empty this out before I put all my supplies back in it when I'm done working for the day. Now, let's get a little more in depth into what's in your little box. All right, so you've got a sponge, wooden modeling tool, a spoon, but in this case, it is going to be used as a paddle, some brushes, which can also be used to smooth the clay if you just get them damp, a double-sided loop or ribbon tool, a needle tool. This is sharp, so especially if you have someone younger around the house, make sure that you're putting this somewhere where it won't be a problem. You can also store it in here, or if you have like a cork or something. A popsicle stick, which can be made, you can actually cut or shave it down to be other designs, and it can be working just like a wooden modeling tool, but a custom design. A little stick. If you need something bigger, a chopstick also works well for detail. And then this plastic kind of strip that I've cut so it's pointy, also great for sculpting, and it's flexible, so you can use it for like scraping the clay. And lastly, this guy here, there are plastic bags in here. You'll probably need more than this, but this is to get you started. And if you look at this mat, inside here, there's two sides. There's the canvas side, and then there's the other side that I've coated with like a silicone. And this is going to go on the bottom of your work surface. So this is like your working kind of mat, and the coating gives it a little bit of grip. So as you're working, it's less likely to slide around on the table. And then when you're done with this for the day, you wipe it down and clean it up and can put it away. So that is what's in your supply kit. You are responsible for taking care of it. Hey, let's talk about what some additional materials you might want to add to your supply kit. There are two things that you really need to have, and then there's a bunch of things that are nice to have but not critical. So let's take a look. Here's what else you need. You definitely need some sort of towel, and as you can see, it's probably going to get dirty, so choose something that is like an old rag. This isn't super big, right? A hand towel or something works perfectly fine. Just, again, something that it's okay to get kind of messy. You need some sort of container for water, so like a large yogurt cup works, or if you have like an old milk jug or laundry jug, you can just cut it, and this would work great too. I would try and find something bigger than, say, like a small cup, because this isn't going to hold a lot of water. You want to use this so you can not only use a sponge, but also potentially like quickly rinse your hands. So it's just nicer to have something that your hands can fit into. Now, I sent you home with 2 bags of plastic, but you are probably going to need more. I find that bread bags work great. Just wash them out and reuse them, and that's also just recycling. Besides that, those are the things that you really need to have. Towel, water holder, plastic bag. Here are the things that are nice to have but not critical. So I sent you home with a little scraper kind of thing, but I find I also really like old like gift cards, because as you can see, you can cut them into custom shapes. So if you have any, maybe just set them aside in your kit, and then if you need a specific shape, you can cut them just with regular scissors. Dental floss is really great for cutting into clay, right? So you don't need the whole container, you just need a length of it, maybe like the length of your arm. And I like to tie a weight or something on at least one end so that I know what it's for. Sometimes I find a fork can be useful for scratching the clay. It's not, again, not absolutely necessary. It might just come in handy. And then a spray bottle is really nice to help keep your clay damp. Any size works, right? A tiny one, a big one. The only thing I would caution with a spray bottle is if you're in like an area where there's, say, something that can't get wet, or it's a shared space, then this might not be very good, because if it oversprays into somewhere else and it gets someone's papers wet, say, or a laptop, then it becomes a problem. So be mindful of where you're using it. I enjoy wearing an apron. If you're like me, I like to wipe my hands on my pants, so this helps keep my pants a little bit cleaner, and my apron is easier to then tidy up. And then finally, you might end up wanting to use a hairdryer to help speed up the drying process. The only thing is that I usually have clay on my hands when I grab a hairdryer, so it does get kind of dirty, so it's worth considering, like, is that going to be a problem? This is a dedicated hairdryer that I use just for this. I don't actually have hair dryers that we use for hair in our house. They're all just for projects. So those are the things that are both important to have and then kind of nice to have. You don't have to have any of the nice to have things like a spray bottle or a hair dryer or an apron right away. You might just find yourself deciding as you work this year that you need them. A quick note about a spray bottle is you probably don't even need to buy one, or maybe not, if you have one already in the house that's almost empty, and if your family doesn't generally refill it, right? So this is from something else, and instead of recycling it, we just put it on another bottle, right? So just keep that in mind. Be a little bit clever in where you're looking for your supplies. You probably have a lot of them at home. And again, they're not all absolutely necessary. You can totally get by with what you already have. Okay?